In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to manage your money more efficiently. Just because we millennials are one of the poorest generations does not mean we have to be poor at managing our money. From techniques that I've picked up in my wealth management career so far, and through my own research and practices, I am going to show you how I combined a number of budgeting techniques to create my perfect money management tool. Not only that, but at the end of this video, I'm going to share something that actually does it all for you. So it's very important that you stay tuned and listen to what you need to do to get what I've got for you. Thanks for staying tuned to Study Wealth. It's Mitchell here, and before I continue, I just need to enter a quick disclaimer that the contents of this video are of my opinion and not my employer's, and it does not constitute as financial advice. It is for entertainment purposes only, because what more would you want than for me to entertain you on managing your money? Before I show you my groundbreaking budgeting technique as the big reveal, I just want to talk through 3 budgeting techniques that have combined together to create my perfect tool that I use, and that doesn't mean it's necessarily right for you. When I had my first salary, my first full paycheck, and my first full-time job post university, I realized that I wanted to have control of my money, particularly because of that feeling which I'm sure you can all empathize with, the morning after, the night before you've got it, looking at your bank account, and that real scared, worried feeling of, oh God, what have I spent here? I want to eradicate that, and I wanted to gain control. So that led me to doing a lot of reading and a lot of researching on how to basically make the most of your money. Now, the average person, and I've drawn it here for you, is that they have their monthly salary, it gets paid into their debit account, and usually that will get shot off into all different directions of all different type of spending, going out, drinking, having fun, even your normal, everyday expenses, just shooting off, no real control over it. And then if you have some left, you'll put some to your savings, or you may put a little bit into your savings and then go into your debit account. But what's happening here is that you have no real control over your spending. And that's great if you are making some savings, but then you also need to think of your savings pot and the work that that's doing, that I'll touch on in a moment. But this is the mindset that today I'm probably not going to tell you anything groundbreaking, but what it is important to do is to take away the mindset of money is a tool. It should be used as an employee that, just like you, goes to work and does its job. If you get to a position where you have money control, you will see money results. And I'm hoping that's the value that I can provide you today, changing your mindset to get your money to work. Now, to do that, I want to combine 3 main budgeting techniques that have allowed me to get to my perfect money management tool. The first being, and I've drawn it here, the 50-30-20 rule. Now, Elizabeth Warren, an American politician, started this trend as such, but it's a great tool to get you learning about how to create different budget pools for your money. Suddenly, the monthly salary doesn't just come into your account and start spending. It actually has 3 partitions, shall we say. Number 1, and that's the majority, the 50%. This is classed as needs. We're looking at housing expenses, mortgage, broadband, service charge, council tax, just your general housing expenses. Living expenses, this may be your travel to work as a good example, or petrol, for example. Groceries, the food that you need to eat to survive, and toiletries, keeping you clean, another thing that's also very important. And this is classed as needs. The 30% looks at your wants. And these are things like restaurants, socializing, holidays, clothing, things that a lot of people assume millennials overindulge in, shall we say. But this is the 30% that you should be allocating. And the reason why I've put clothing here, I don't recommend anyone, by the way, goes out naked. Clothing is essential, but it's not essential to really spend a lot of money on your clothing. It's more a want if you want to look nice and wear nice clothing. If you need cheap clothing, you can go out and get cheap clothing, and that's kind of the point I'm making here. Finally, and it's looking at this 20%, and that's the savings bracket. And the savings bracket is looking at what I've put here: an emergency fund of 6 to 12 months, debt repayment, which is essential and I'll touch on in a moment, and investment account. And we all know the investment account is key to get to that financial independence, because of last video, which I'll link here, is 5% annualized return is needed in order to achieve that financial independence, because your return on investments covers your expenses. But that's on that video there. Debt repayment, and this is where you can use the 50, 30, 20 to combine with the debt repayment budgeting tool that allows you to eradicate your debts quicker, so that you can then start building your emergency fund and your investment portfolio. Now, debt repayment is really simple concept where you overpay 10% of your debt monthly, and what that does is speed up the rate at which it's paid back. It's very, very simple, and there is a great calculator on Money Saving Expert that I will link below. And basically what this allows you to do is repay your debts quicker. It's as simple as that. And if you look at it for a mortgage, for example, if you pay 10% more of your mortgage and you have, let's just say, a 40-year mortgage, you can reduce it to a 35-year mortgage just by paying 10% off every month. So that is a summary of the two budgeting techniques. If you combine that now with a further rendition, shall we say, of this, going a further extreme of this, you get to what I would call my money management tool. And before I do the grand reveal, I just want to say, if you're getting value from this video, please do like and subscribe to my channel for more content on personal finance, entrepreneurship and financial education, because we're on a journey to financial independence and to me becoming a qualified wealth manager. So let's do the big reveal. I think I might put some music in here as I pull it over. And what I want to do just for a second is allow everyone to write this down. So monthly salary, note this is your disposable income. So this is after your tax, your national insurance, your pension, if you were contributing or if your employer is doing it, and also your student finance. It goes into what I've called here a financial hub. And I just want to give some credit here to Tom Ferry, who's done a very popular, very good money managing video that I found when I was on my journey to managing money more efficiently. However, his was relevant to real estate. It wasn't relevant to the everyday person managing their salary. But it definitely taught me some fundamentals that I have then taken into this practice. And it's basically what I said at the start, getting your money to work for you, just like you do for your employer. So you'll see here, your monthly salary goes into your financial hub, and then it's split off into many different directions. And at first glance, this actually looks quite complicated. However, each of these, by the way, have their own budget pool, and it allows you to manage each one quite closely, so you can see if you feel like you're spending more or less on your particular budget pool. And so housing expenses, again, is the same as the needs on the other side, but it's broken down a little bit further rather than the 50, 30, 20 rule. And rather than it just looking like it's going into many different directions, I just want to break down these three red parts here. It's got a main account, which is your housing expenses and your living. So the financial hub is your main account. It gets paid into your main account, and the housing expenses and the living expenses stay in there. They don't need to move. They come out as a direct debit, your bills. Challenger Bank. So I personally use Monzo, as I know there's Starling Bank out there as well. I like Monzo and creating different pots. So then I create a social, going out restaurants pot. I create a holiday pot, saving for a holiday. The average UK holiday for 10 days is about £1,000. That's not in the UK, that's going abroad. It's about £1,000 for 10 nights. So saving some money in there. And then food and toiletries, hopefully you can see toiletries there. Sorry if it's cut off slightly, but you've got food and toiletries again, which is a need, but I create a pot for that and I manage that on a monthly basis as well. So I've got 3 pots in a Challenger bank here, and then you've got housing and living expenses, which, as we know, are needs. So this is a further breakdown. I've then got money shooting out direct debit into a savings account, and that's not just into one account, that's into my investment portfolio, that's into a sort of emergency fund savings account, and that is also for people who need it, where you would complete that debt repayment. So you'd put a little bit of money into a savings account knowing that you'll use it for your debt repayment, or you'd also just keep it in your main account so that your debt comes off, so you know you're paying your debt off. It's very important that you begin to have this automated so that it becomes easier to manage, and I'll touch on that in my closing statement, shall we say. But also the final part I've put here, which adds another string to your bow, is the potential to use credit cards. And that comes when you have this under control. So don't run before you can walk with something like this. I know we've kept it very simple today, and you may feel like I haven't said anything groundbreaking, but where you introduce credit cards is when you can start building up some unwanted debt. So it's very important that you have control of your money before you do so. And that's something I definitely made sure of. But you can start if you set it up correctly, that it pays off direct debit every month, you can start using a social spend, for example, on credit card, getting cash back that you get from spending on it, but then having it paid off every month anyway. So in a sense, you have to be very careful with it, but it's almost free money. I am going to touch on credit cards in more detail in a later video, so do hold out for that and make sure you subscribe. I am going to keep drilling this in. It is worth it, guys, I promise you. I know I'm only at the start of my journey, but I do believe we will be providing a lot of value on this channel. So as a summary, we've looked at 50, 30, 20, 10% debt repayment, and my personal way of managing the financial hub. And where this is great is that if you get this savings to around 20%, 20% is doing them, each pot is doing its own work, but 20% of the pot is doing its work and probably producing 80% of your results for your net worth. The 20-80 or the 80-20 is a very commonly known saying. 20% of your efforts creates 80% of your results, and that's the case if you build this savings pot up in an investment portfolio and start to build up your net worth with that annualized return. Just hope you haven't gone anywhere yet, because have I got a treat for you. So thank you for listening to today's video on managing your money. As promised, I do have a special treat for my subscribers. As you know, and as I've shown you, I have my own personal finance budget that I have on an Excel spreadsheet. And quite frankly, I want to share it with you. This budget doesn't just look at what I showed you on the Financial Hub. It also breaks it down, looking at it monthly and even daily if you want to manage your daily budget. I want to send that to my closest followers, but in order to do that, I need help from you. Please, as you know, this is a new channel for me, and I'm looking to get as much traction as I can to be able to help as many people as possible. If you would like the Study Wealth budgeting spreadsheet to follow my journey and yours to success, please comment on this video. Number 2, please follow @Study Wealth on Instagram. Finally, please like the video, because at the end of the day, with no likes, no one's seeing it. Really hope you've enjoyed today's video. As you know, there's many more to come on helping you with your finances. Please don't forget, if you want my budgeting Financial Hub spreadsheet that I've spent my heart and soul on, I want to give it to you for free, for nothing, if you like, comment and follow my Instagram. Thank you for listening. It's always a pleasure with Study Wealth.